Hello everybody, Woodmen Hills, and I want to thank you for stopping by Exposed, and I want to thank you for all the support, and it's been a ton of support. We don't always post people's comments anymore because we've received information that apparently somebody with access to cable and television and communications information may have been the person behind the hack on my website. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of it, but if you know somebody that works for a cable company or does specific switching and accessing of stuff like that, well, you can narrow that list down to people who do stuff like that for a living, because those are the people who would actually have the knowledge of being able to go into their company and do one of those buddy-buddy things. Hey, can you do me a favor? Because I found out that there is a way, in fact, that someone can get into the backside of our website and do it without basically almost can't conceal the information. So we're still working on that matter of the breach. I wanted to let you know that. So with that in mind, if you know someone that works for a cable company or does something like that, by all means, get a hold of us here and give us their name, because obviously I don't know all the people, but it would be a very limited number of people who would know that I have a website, because it's not like the entire world knows it, okay, with the amount of people that visit here and there. So I want to let you know that that still is going on in the background. So I want to let you know that when this all goes down, I'll be the first one signing that complaint, because I have no intention of letting that person get away with it. So anyways, on to even bigger and better stuff. So let me explain what we're having here. And I want to let you know that we're always in a good mood, because this is what is now bothering everybody. Okay? We now have the admission of an elected official colluding and collaborating with a developer. And how wrong that is on a magnitude scale like no other. The information that's being put out now by this ex-board member, quote unquote, the special consultant, will be the downfall of this board. Because all these years and all this stuff, and I want to make this clear to Amy, Dave, Marty, Joanne, Stan, and everybody else involved in the recall, that she has now admitted to this relationship. And everybody that knows. People that were at those meetings where she flat out said she had nothing to do with Green and she was keeping her mouth shut, is now coming on here and admitting to having a knowledge-based relationship with a developer. And do you have any idea what kind of conflict of interest that is? Well, there's a gentleman that apparently lives, I don't know, Lazy E or whatever that road is over here or something like that, that's been here longer than I have. Or maybe as long, I don't know. But I do know that in discussions that I've had with a lot of people that I don't post, they're asking the same question, and it's a really big question. Why does she still have anything to do with the board? Why is she a consultant? How come her husband's on the board? And why is it that after 9 years of the Pitsies, we don't have somebody else doing it? Well, I can tell you now that the recall committee, who I am going to end up being a spokesman for, will allow me to make an announcement very soon. Okay? Now, I've made mistakes in the past about things that I shouldn't have, and I want to apologize to Amy Smith, her family, and the other recall committee members. That won't happen again. This time, we have the goods. This time, the evidence is irrefutable. This time, the board, for refusing to discipline their own employees for however minute the issue was, or whatever is going on, is either colluding, collaborating, or doing this intentionally. Whatever the reason, we don't mind. The more you allow people to do things to me and my family, the more it upset the recall committee. Because this was nothing more than directed at me. The stack of EPSO records I have, that's not made up. The tape recordings of employees of this district, and we won't use their name, even though they know who they are, getting in my face, telling the deputies to take me in or sign a complaint or try to have me arrested at rec centers, wasn't me. Okay? That's called a vendetta. It's called being vindictive. The requests were made prior to this recall that's going to be upcoming, and very clear for one thing. We asked you to change a few simple rules, myself, and now for being stubborn, vindictive, and a few other things, we're here, and where we're at for where we're at. I want to answer the question of the consultant, the special consultant of Woodmen Hills, as I call the nepotism hire of the century. The information I got about Mr. Green was really simple. I was alerted by the Secretary of State about an address change on 3 of the companies, okay? That was sent to me. I looked them up. Then I followed that information over to the Florida Secretary of State, which is where Mr. Green came from, if that's what the records are. Then that information led to additional information. That information is posted on a public website. Why am I not going to post it? Because I don't have to, okay? So when I tell you I have information that's documented that shows exactly what I said on my website, it is. Okay, and the number 700,000 wasn't the exact number. I just threw that number up there. It's actually more than 700,000, okay? All right. So the other question is now coming into play is about the recall in Four-Way Ranch, the issues with Bentgrass that are being concealed and withheld, and I am in discussions with the manager about going to their meetings. I am in discussions with the people over in Four-Way Ranch about the recall situation, and I'm also in discussions with the people at Meridian Ranch over the statements made by Mrs. Pitsy over the fact that she said that they had a bad relationship with Meridian Ranch. Well, here's the good news. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is it that you concealed your relationship to this developer who you said had no, and I mean no, financial connection to this district, which was disproven in records filed at the state? Okay? Now, regardless of what's going on, I have it on a bird's ear that Mr. Green is glad to be out of here. Now let's see what happens with those new flyers for next year or whatever's going on. As I've made it clear, we're not going to address Mrs. Pitsy's issues directly anymore. You are absolutely right. It is just not worth it. Okay? To other people who now see what's going on, I've been stonewalled enough that you now understand what's going on. They want to set me up to make it look like I'm harassing everybody. In reality, here's what's going to happen. This district, as elected officials held to a higher standard, should have done something to correct the situation, and they didn't, to their detriment. It's nothing to do with me. The Daniel Cole matter? Well, we're going to find out a little bit more about that tomorrow night, because there's a stunning revelation I'm going to make at the board meeting. And that board meeting, and that stunning revelation is then going to become public. So please, everybody show up. Everybody. If there's only standing room, more the better. But from now on, all of this stuff that you think that I'm just doing to do things to Woodman Hills is to expose exactly what we said we do. We expose the facts with documents. Read the sign. Okay? The fact that Mrs. Pitsy is still involved in this district as a special consultant to the board and the district should have never happened. What happened to Lynn and Frank should have never happened. What happened to Gene and Jim should have never happened. What happened to Patrick Haley and the aquatics lady should have never have happened. We're going to take this district back and give it some fresh new leadership. Okay? All right. I want to thank everybody for stopping by. And Miss Rachel La, okay, just so we're clear on this, the reason I don't or do not have a sit down with Mrs. Pitsy is for the exact reason she just came onto this website and has no clue to the ramifications and magnitude that her relationship to Benjamin Green caused everybody in this district over her tenure as a board member and her continued tenure after the fact. Thanks for stopping by. Again, look forward to seeing you, look forward to talking to you, and look forward to your questions on my website. Please don't be afraid to ask. If you need to ask me a question, as always, as I've been receiving them, 719-217-0891. Always ask a question. There are no stupid questions. Thank you, everybody.